Good morning. It is Tuesday, May 3rd, which makes it Monday. Write it down. Grab your sharpest red crayon. It is Monday, August 1st. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You have 5 months. You're like, it's not July yet, stupid. I know. And yes, we have 5 months left to close production that will close in this year.
Yep.
October 1st, whatever you put under contract, typically is going to close in wait for it, 23. So, glad we could start your morning off right, but we're going to hit you with the truth every time. I've always said, not so much with Zoe because people just like her better, but you're invariably going to hate 97.3. That's the new math. 97.3% of the stuff that comes out of my face is probably going to aggravate you, and I'm okay with that. Our job, and ultimately, is to hold you guys accountable to the greatness that you author. When you sit with us and you're like, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and we scribble that out, and we help you with a game plan. And then when you start to fall behind, and I tell this story all the time because it's fun to tell. 5 years ago, Zoe, I'm walking into the building. Dr. Prue is in front of me, and I asked Erin, I said, how far behind are you guys? And she it wasn't as violent as like The Exorcist, but the head spun. And she's like, Tim, and I'm like, well, because I know you guys have aspirational goals. Everybody on December 35th, when you're waking up, after celebrating the new year, usually you're like, we're going to do all of it. And you probably made this plan in October. We'll do business planning typically in the fall. They were aspirational to some extent. And we want you guys to make goals that make you uncomfortable. That's where the growth is. So I clarified by saying, well, I trust you're behind, because if you caught up, as soon as you see yourself with lead indicators catching up, you would start to move the bar higher. So when we ask you how far behind you are, that is an inclusive question that we ask all people. It's not a certain group of you that we think you're slacking. If today's calendar says couch, cat, PJ pants, pancakes, and the Price is Right, we might want you to maybe change your schedule a little bit, unless today was a planned day off.
Or we would celebrate because maybe you did not take a cat day for all of April, in which case, stay on that couch, and why are you here with us?
Yeah.
Go watch more Price is Right.
Yes, the best part of being a realtor is you're in charge, and some days the worst part of being a realtor is you're in charge. But if you have a scheduled day off today, awesome. But we always ask that question, and we're always going to remind you guys that we're 90 days out. So today is truly August 1st. For the rest of today, the home store has already left. You already missed it, but I'm still going to tell you that they took off from KWCLM in Dover, which must be like the Thanksgiving Day parade in New York City. I can only imagine the cars lined up on the road, because we do understand the bounty of parking at the Dover office. So I can imagine there must be road flares, and every cop that Lesniak knows must be helping out with that. They are hitting Rockingham County today. The towns are not necessarily specified. But if
I made a mistake, everyone.
That's okay. That's okay. So if you left Dover with them, you're with them. If not, I would encourage you to call somebody you know is on the tour and catch up with them. And the beauty of that, just like going to any sort of networking event, is you go and you invariably want to probably leave your vehicle because you want to jump in with other people and other people you don't know. So if somebody happens to be, they're not, I know this. If somebody happens to be watching us on their phone in a car with other realtors, and you're looking around your vehicle and you're with 3 other KWCLM kids, said with love, you did it wrong. You should be meeting people from other brokerages, cross-pollinating information, and maybe talking about the fact that I trust, and this isn't always the case, maybe we have an inordinate amount of listings on the tour today, and it's weighted towards us, and then maybe people would want to scrape away some intelligence from you and say, well, how are you guys getting more listings than everybody else? Well, Tim and Zoe yell at us every morning, and did you know that today's August 35th? And they're like, what do you mean by that? We don't have those kind of conversations. So as much as our information every morning probably ruins your coffee, big sip. This was actually Spindrift, which I'm all out of. I have to grab one before I head down the hallway. For what's happening at 9 o'clock, we are into day 2 of Ignite 6.0. Where the hell did 2 through 5 go? I don't know, Gary. They died in the fire. So we have skipped right to 6.0.
Straight over. We are at 6.
It's all new content. You can join us in the training room in Portsmouth, or you can join us online. That's at timsoffice.com. That's 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we are bringing it back. So 1,000 years ago, when we first launched KWikStart, we would invariably do it in the training room, and people would come in, and we would do like the call, and we would be online, and then we'd shut it down, and whoever was in the room with us would do some scripting and role play, and then you guys would go off on your way. So we're bringing that back because we talk about the strategy, we talk about the blueprints of these conversations, but we're not yet doing it. We haven't done it together in a while. A lot of that you can blame it on, write this down, chlamydia 19. It's my favorite word. It's what it is. Did you want either one of them? No. Both of them we don't want. So COVID-19 hit. We all went to our holes and hid for a while. Now that we're back and we can play together, we want to do that every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Depending on if people are sticking around, I might do from the training room. I think on non-Ignite months, I might do that from my desk, but that will always be, again, we might do it hybrid today. That will always be at Keller TV. Is that where that's happening at 11 o'clock? And we'll do it from 11 to 12 every Tuesday. If you don't like scripts, all the more reason you should be in the room, because we're going to talk about why they're effective, why they work. Because if you currently have 0 listings and you don't like scripts, I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm buoyant, so I have to find the fattest limb on the tree. I'll stay low so I don't fall that far. If I do, I'll bounce. I'm going to go on a limb and say...
One cause of death of porcupines, by the way.
I'll try not to... Can you?
Yeah, this
that
morning.
Would be my luck. I fall out of the tree onto a porcupine.
I fall out of trees.
Yep.
Anyway.
Oh, on people. Oh, you mean porcupines?
They fall out of trees and die.
I'm watching the Bruins playoff game. You're up late studying how porcupines die? This is what you're doing in your free time? She's all ours, everybody. She's all ours. We get to keep her. Holy
I got
smokes.
the new glasses this morning. It's all
Dear
here.
Lord.
I watched numbers on my drive this morning. Did anyone else catch Jim Talbot's market update from Friday?
I saw that Friday in real time.
Woo,
He has cut his hair.
Awesome.
He looked very astute. He dialed the hair in and everything. So I would argue that if you have less listings than you would like, and you currently are in an adversarial relationship with scripts, my guess is the script you are or aren't, passive aggressive, are or aren't using might currently, write this down, suck. Right? And it's because, well, I'm winging it. I love that. They're a great chicken joint down Lafayette. That's what they're good for. They're not good for scripts. Do not wing your scripts. And I don't want to sound scripted, Timmy. We're going to talk about all of this at 11 o'clock. It's about taking the meat off the bone, back to the chicken wings, and Frankensteining together your language. Because when we internalize them over and over and over again, we can, exercise them and emotionalize them and make them our language of sales.
Yep. And actually, my drive, I'm in Meredith this morning, so my drive was a little longer than usual.
Yeah.
Which means I also caught some back episodes of the Tom Ferry podcast experience, which is great.
Tom Ferry's amazing.
And one of his fantastic guests, the name of this particular guest escapes me. It was from a few weeks ago. Awesome quote for this morning for our scripts and our conversation and scripts practice. Repetition is the mother of confidence. Mm-hmm. Repetition is the mother of confidence.
Yep.
If you haven't done it once, you're not going to sound smooth and confident in the way you speak. If you haven't done it twice, if this is maybe only the third time you've said the words, I'm so curious. Where did you hear that information about mortgage rates? You're going to sound a little stilted. So practice it, repeat it over and over again.
The number one answer we get, Zoe, is it doesn't sound like me. Well, you've never said the words before, to Zoe's point, right? And everybody wants to be, and most people are concerned that they don't offer value or they feel unconfident getting on the phone. And confidence builds competence and vice versa. So the more you're spending time with the language, the more confident you are. And ultimately, it's my number one, and I'm probably wrong. I'm sure the person, Gary might disagree. I don't think he'd disagree, but Gary might have a different skew on this. I think the number one reason for being well scripted is so you can listen at a higher level. Because all of the humans that we engage with on a regular basis want two things. They want to feel heard and cared for. And if I'm sitting there freaking out, like I don't know what Zoe's about to say, and whatever she says, I'm not prepared for. So you're overthinking what you're about to throw up out of your mouth anyway.
Even worse, you're not even listening. You're not worrying about what I'm going to say. You're worrying about what you're going to say.
1,000%.
Okay, well, I said that thing about mortgage rates. So next, I really should talk about what was it that I should talk about again? Oh wait, did you say something? Like,
Right. Yeah. Or the
absolutely.
absolute worst is, so what are your thoughts on that? And you're like,
Uh,
yeah, I couldn't believe porcupines died falling out of trees either. What was your question? Yeah, like,
what was that?
yeah, you're just like, you're looking for the fire alarm. You're in a residential home. You can't pull anything on the wall. Nobody's evacuating the building. Yeah.
Little glass to break.
Yeah. So that getting back to why Zoe is in beautiful downtown Meredith, she is in our Meredith office. We are located because we are so important on the food chain. We're located in the basement. With, as you can see behind her, municipal lighting. We have to get those lamps. I
Yes.
talked about us getting. Yeah, I was there last week. Of course, I was up there
Lamps.
with the kids last week, hanging out with Mark and Jason, and I was on a call with Susanna. She's like, "Is that a live plant behind you?" I'm like, "Zoe would not let me have a live plant." I mean, I've got two here that I'm killing in Portsmouth. But
There's no real light down
no,
here, so
no,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah. It's impossible unless we wrap the walls in foil and got certain lighting. Which I feel like now we've got everybody's attention. What are they about to talk about? Yeah.
What is that?
So Zoe's hanging out in Meredith today at 9:30 in Meredith. You've got Shannon Casey, Michael Gagnon, Christian Scott, and Scully is coming down from NOCO. They're going to hang out and have a conversation and have a 4-person mastermind. So if you want to join that conversation, you're in Meredith for 9:29 sharp. And I do believe the duration on that, they're giving it a good solid 120 minutes to talk about all their brilliance. I believe. I'm not sure. I'm not
I think,
sure.
I think it might be 90, but we'll
Oh,
see.
it's not. Nonetheless, which is delicious because that leaves you wide open for 11 o'clock, where you can join us online for conversations and scripts. So that being said, we do want to talk about during the month of May, and we're not going to go in order. This will not be chronological. Have you met my face? But I've been thinking about budget because I know people right now with everything going on, both in your personal life and your business life, you're thinking about, well, how do I mind my P's and Q's or my dollar signs and my zeros? So we want to talk about this real quick. When we get into the budget model in the Red Book, and we're on page 932, I'm joking, it's not that long. It just feels it. It just feels it. We're on 193, and the budget model, you'll hear us talk about 30, 30, 40. And 30, 30, 40 is cost of sales, expenses, and then profitability, which people are just like, 40. I want to make more than 40%. Well, Barbara, grab your crayon and your abacus because it's very difficult to do so, to hold those lines. Because typically what we do is we overspend on cost of sale. What the hell is a cost of sale? I'm so glad you asked. As an agent at Keller Williams, initially, your initial cost of sale when you're just getting started is your company dollar and, of course, your international royalty, as we call it, your Kaylee money and your Gary money, right? So it's going to be the 20% off the top of your GCI check, gross commission income. And sometimes our transactions are small enough that you get the check and you're like, oh, that is gross commission income. It is gross, and it's commission, and it's income. And then the 6% that goes to Gary, you're paying down $20,000 and $3,000, so a collective cost of sale initially of $23,000 over the course of the year. After that, it's anything that you're spending to gain the income. So this is where that check to billow comes in, right? So this is where people get lopsided, and your 30 becomes more than 30. Expenses are all the things that you're doing to run your business, insofar as your rent, salaries, of course, come in here. Anything you're doing to build your team and to create more leverage. And you're usually doing that after you've built a business where you're no longer party of one. We don't encourage people to start to do that when they've got nothing going on. You don't need people watching you do nothing. You need people helping you do something, right? And then we get into what the profitability is. And don't forget, that's before taxes. Your net is before Washington. Then you have what you've made for money. Go ahead.
People and like I went through this when I started, looking at my own small business taxes,
Sure.
and, like, expenses and the whole numbers and everything. I'm like, so how do I tell the difference? Where do I draw the line between what's a cost of sale and what is an expense? And what I always tell people is a cost of sale is a cost that you incur when you have a closing.
Sure.
You don't have a closing in any given month, you don't incur that cost. So for example, if you were working with Jason Hool for your transaction coordination,
yep,
that is a cost of sale, meaning you don't pay Jason until and unless you close on that transaction. That is a cost of sale. On the other hand, if you are working with Alana and she's helping you do your Facebook ads, you're paying her regardless of whether a transaction actually closes, right?
Sure.
So cost of sale versus expense.
Well, so then that's where people would say, what would photography be? Because I'm taking pictures of the home to get it online to get the lead.
That in that situation, I would argue is and this is where it gets to be a gray
Yeah.
area. I would argue that is an expense. It is related to a transaction, but you are paying that photographer whether or
Not
not
it closes.
that property closes.
Correct.
You
Yep.
still have to pay that photographer. So that
Yep.
is an expense.
Yep. So just to be clear, 30, 30, 40, that's how those numbers break down. So I think we're in New Orleans a handful of years ago, and Gary threw out his new math, which is ever changing. But let's start here, and this could run in both your business life and your home budget as well. It's the minus 25 times 2. And what the hell do I mean when I say that? Because people might have heard me say that more than once. So minus 25 is if you can identify, and my wife loves to, occasionally she'll overhear me having these conversations at home with agents, and I hang up and she's like, so let's grab the DirecTV bill, because she wants me to minus 25 that so bad. And
She doesn't even see the Amazon boxes that get delivered to the office.
dude, she gets home way before me. Yes. Unfortunately.
Dear Tina.
Yeah. Let's not go down that road. I had a pair of brand new Stan Smiths, icy white Stan Smiths sent to the office, and Kaylee's like, "Why do you have the shoes sent here?" I'm like, "Have you met my life?" Yeah. But I will have to bring those home, and she's going to make me cull out some old sneakers and old shoes, and yeah, we have to go through that process because I currently have 2 boxes of Adidas in my trunk that I haven't meandered into the house yet. One of them is a pair of golf shoes, but that doesn't really. She doesn't delineate that differentiation, and yeah, she's going to be like, "You have more than one pair of golf shoes." I do. So back to minus 25. Well, that's getting. Is it getting warm in here? Or is it just my budget? Yeah. So minus 25 is, can you identify in your business 25% of your expenses that if you needed to, if the world crashed into the moon tomorrow, you could cut them. Now, Gary's contention is if you can identify things that you could get rid of tomorrow if you needed to, you can probably get rid of them today. And this is about operating with a scalpel, not an axe. We want to cut tissue, not bone. We don't want to chop into the bone. And you could scrape away a little bit every day. So can you do that both at home and within your budget? Now, what do we know? We can make cuts faster than we can add revenue. So the times 2 comes in, and Gary, I think I just heard him at family reunion or in Texas actually said we should be at X3 now. So you're welcome, but just stick with me. It's about at least doubling down. And this is why when we talk about, because we just started Ignite yesterday, you guys heard us talk about, this is amazing. Good morning. Okay. Sure.
I feel like that means it's Nate. Let's find out.
Well, no, we have it every day. It's every day.
By the way, Tim did not tell us yesterday was
Can I
the
call
7-year
you back?
anniversary of
Okay.
KWikStart.
Bye.
Yesterday. Yay.
Some confusion about the training room.
Oh,
Yeah. So Ignite's going to be in the parking lot, apparently. I have no idea. We'll find out. We'll find it. We'll all learn together in a few minutes. There's
Okay.
there's a concern that we're booked every day, and it was for every other day. I'll be in the parking lot. By all means, join me. Bring
TBG, everybody.
bring your umbrellas. We'll get it figured out. Yeah, I feel like the ballpark's not booked. We'll be fine. I feel like it's going to be a road game anyway. We'll be fine. That being said, this is my life happening in real time.
In real time. It's happening.
In real time. Yeah. Listen, I stand in front of the classroom. I say to you guys, I'm never going to lie to you guys. Yes, this is all happening in real time. So come to the training room. It's going to be okay, everybody. We'll see you there. That being said, where were we? We're going times 2. So whatever your efforts are in Ignite, which is still in the training room, we are going to be talking about doing your 10-4 and having 10 conversations a day. Gary would say at this point, make it 20. In Round Rock a couple of weeks ago, he told us, make it 30. Here's the thing. It's progress, not perfection. You're never going to have enough conversations. I'll say that again. You're never going to have enough conversations. And I don't say that to overwhelm you. We just know historically people aren't having enough conversations in which they get to a point where they can ask for help in and around their business. Well, I don't get there. I don't want to feel salesy, all that kind of stuff. They're going to ask you about work. And we're going to talk about this today in day 2 of Ignite, embracing the job of a realtor. And it's not often that you hear Zoe and I call it a job. It is a career, but there's a jobby job portion that goes on before 12 that HGTV doesn't tell you about. It's the making of the sausage.
Nope, this doesn't fit in with 22 minutes.
Yeah. Like if I didn't let you behind the curtain, you wouldn't know that we might be having class in the parking lot. But I took the call in front of you to show you the jobby job part of what I do. So that being said, understanding without fail that we have to have enough conversations, and the national average is 19 no's to a yes. So are you talking to enough people to get an opportunity? And we're not just strictly talking about I got to a conference table to sit with a buyer, I got to a kitchen table to sit with a listing. Did you get on the phone with somebody and find out their credit's broken? And I always make up these names, but bear with me. I think it's not Larry. I guarantee it's not Larry. So you send them to Brad. Brad's like, oh, they need Larry. Larry's the credit guy, and Larry puts them on a 6.5-year pathway to fixing their credit because bankruptcies are typically 7 years. Are you willing, Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game, are you willing to go for that long journey for 6.5 years and stay engaged with this person until they become financially capable of being transactional? Because what's going to happen along the way that Zoe and I know is going to happen without fail. They're going to rave to everyone they know about you that put them back on the pathway to home ownership. So that's the minus 25 times 2. I'm going to go make sure we have a stadium to play ball in today. Join us online. We will be at timsoffice.com for Ignite. And then above and beyond that, we will also be in the training room in Portsmouth. And we'll get everything clarified on the schedule moving forward. So we are here today. Tomorrow, Ignite is going to be activity-based. We said it out loud. Zoe will be hosting that because I'm apparently going to put on my golfing poncho, and we're going to weather the storm and raise some money for KW Cares. But we appreciate your time. We talked about marketing. If you're looking for Babs, it is timewithbabs.com, B-A-B-S, timewithbabs.com for Alana Babineau to get into her calendar to talk about said marketing, to build your business. And then you can look at our full suite of marketing at KWCLMmarketing.com. If you need my face, it is meetwithcoach.com or 603-834-2856. Zoe's in Meredith, 9:30 in Meredith in the training room downstairs next to our luxurious office. You can join everybody for that mastermind with Mark and Zoe. We'll see you guys in and around the Market Center. Have a great day.